quotation.
Seconds used. One minute used. $1.30 used.
Studying for college is one of the hardest things I've done. I mean, the late nights and all-nighters that I have to pull just to get a good grade on a test constantly stresses me out, but it continues to build up. This reminded me of the quotation that I received today. Know the rules well so you can break them. Dalai Lama, head of Tibetan Buddhism. I interpret this quotation to mean that change cannot happen overnight. I do agree with this interpretation, and we'll look at this through 3 different examples. First, a 2026 Oscar winner. Second, a Grey's Anatomy character. And finally, a civil rights activist. So these will all show us that change can't happen with just one simple decision. It has to happen over a multitude of reasons. So to start, Oscar winner. Oscar winner Sean Penn was unfortunately not at the Oscars, and even when offering him the award, people were making jokes about he couldn't be here or didn't want to be here. Yet nobody really talked about why he wasn't actually there. He was over in Ukraine because he has built an amazing relationship with the leader over there, trying to help create change and end this war. He has been fighting for this the past few years that the war has been going on. And even though he could have been at the Oscars winning this glamorous award, he decided not to. He decided to go and show his support for something that actually matters. And even though it has been years of him working on this, he is continuing to apply himself to create change. And clearly this change has not happened overnight. He has been continuing to fight and push through to make sure that these people are well taken care of, giving up an award. Next, we'll look at this through a Grey's Anatomy character, specifically Miranda Bailey. Now, Miranda Bailey has been one of the 3 people who have been through the show the entire time of 20-something seasons. But specifically, I want to talk about in the later seasons. After Roe v. Wade was overturned, you don't see a lot of TV shows end up taking something from the real world. But they did. They even awarded her a surgical award for helping to teach people on how to help with women's bodies when all this stuff was going on. She won an award because she continued to help create change after this terrible overturning of Roe v. Wade. No matter if it wasn't the status quo or she wasn't doing what she was intended to do, she continued to fight for that change. And it didn't happen overnight. She put her heart and soul into this to make sure that these people who were being told not to be taught were getting taught. Next, a human rights activist. Well, sort of. Harriet Tubman. Now, I'm sure all of us have heard the story, but the greatest thing that she became was a helper for people who were not getting the help they needed. Back when the slave trade was going on, people were stuck in the South, not being able to fight for themselves or get freedom. She, even though broke all these different laws, risked getting killed to save these people's life. She did numerous trips in the Underground Railroad, saving all of these people from torture and from slavery. And even though she knew that this could be bad, and she was a free woman, it didn't care. She didn't care. She wanted to help create change and save other people who were so wrongly imprisoned in slavery. So today, we received the quotation, "Know the rules well, so you can break them." Dalai Lama. I interpreted this to mean that change doesn't happen overnight. I do agree with this interpretation, and we looked at this through 3 different examples. First, Sean Penn, who could have been at the Oscars winning an award, but decided to go and be somewhere where it truly mattered. Then, Miranda Bailey, who even though it wasn't in her field to train these people, she continued to train and help them. Then finally, Harriet Tubman, who herself was a free woman, but continued to put herself and others in the line of fire and in the line of death to do what was right. Because that's what mattered. And even though that change took a long time, even after she wasn't there. So I know studying kind of sucks sometimes, but doing it will continue to push you forward and create change.